Hey guys, this is Rachel here again with Techbloke.com, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use Google Slides to create your very own ebook. So this is the homepage. I'm just going to go to Google Slides. It's going to open up a new web page here. Now you can see if you have made things before, they will come up down here. You can also go to owned by anyone that you're connected with, but I'm currently on owned by me. And so up here we have a couple of different preset layouts that we can use if you wanted for your presentation. But you will notice, however, that even when I click more, they are all in this sort of landscape orientation. Now if you are going to be making an ebook, chances are you do want it in a portrait orientation. So I'm going to go over how to change that around when we start our slide. Now of course you can use this layout if you'd like. It just means that if you're using a portrait orientation, it's just going to be a little bit easier to print for both you and your clients. Now we're not going to use any of these preset layouts today, we're just going to go to blank. Basically just so I can show you how to figure it all out. Now it'll open and it does look a bit like Microsoft PowerPoint if you've ever used that program before. So over here we've got our slides, and we've got a button up here to add a new slide or a new slide with a different layout. So your first slide will automatically be a title page, and over here on the right you can see a couple of different themes that you can use if you want. Now these themes are designed by designers, so they are quite nice looking, they are quite simple, and by all means if you want to use these you can. Today we're just going to go for a basic blank layout here. Now the layout that we're going to work with on our next slide is going to be a title and a body. So up here we have a space for a title, and down here we have a space for any sort of content that you might want to put in it. If you want to delete a slide, you can go over here, right click the slide and just press cut. Now if you don't actually want to do that, of course you can press paste and that'll bring it all back. For now we're just going to work with this blank one here. Now like I said, most ebooks you'll want them in an A4 portrait orientation. Now this is A4 horizontal, which is great if you're doing, say, a presentation or something similar to a PowerPoint, but we're not doing that today. We're going to make an ebook, so we are going to change it over here. And what we're going to do is go to File, Page Setup, and now there are a couple of different ones that we can choose from, but we're going to go to Custom, and in here we're just going to put 8.5 by 11 and go OK, and that's going to change it to that portrait orientation for us. Now I don't want these text boxes, so I'm going to hit the delete button on my keyboard, and I'm just going to delete this one here as well. So now we've got a nice blank piece of paper to work with. So we're going to start off by making a cover page for our ebook. So I'm going to go over here to Insert, and in this little drop down menu you're going to see a whole bunch of different options. I'm going to start with an image just because I want a nice pretty piece of paper for my cover page. And so when you click Insert Image, it's going to bring up here, and you can see that you can upload directly from your computer. You can also use images that you've uploaded to Google before. You can use an image URL, or you can take a snapshot with your webcam. Now I'm going to upload an image today, and I'm just going to find a nice sort of A4 orientated image there. And so once that's uploaded, we're just going to put that onto the background of our blank canvas here. So you see it might take a little bit to load, but just like a normal sort of image editor, you can just grab and drag this around, and it will automatically snap to the lines, the borders here, which is really handy as well. And it does have guidelines, so that things can be centered if you need something right in the middle, but we are going to spread this out a little bit. Cool. Now that is our background. Now that's a little bit bright, it's quite vibrant, and if I was to put text over the top, I might not be able to see it. So I'm going to go in and insert a text box. And that'll bring up a little cursor that I can click and drag. And I'm going to type my ebook. Cool. Now obviously that's not a great title, it doesn't look very good, but just as Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Word would, it's just got a really standard sort of text editor up here. So you can choose again from these drop down menus here, or you can type in your own size and press enter. So I want it to be 100, and then I also want to change it to be bold. Cool. Now with the alignment, you can align it either in the center, to the right, or as a fill in the column. And you can also align the text within the text box, so you can have it aligned towards the bottom of the text box, or the top, or in the center. So I'm going to center mine just so that it's nice and easy for me to center the text. And so when I do this, if I put it straight in those guidelines, it's going to be right in the middle. Now that background is a little bit too full on, so I'm going to right click on that and go to image options here. And over here I can adjust the transparency, the brightness, and the contrast. So that makes the text a little bit easier to see. So now I want to change the font of my title. So that's the standard Arial font, but I want something a little bit more exciting. So Google Slides has a cool little font sort of drop down menu, just like a normal text editor would, but it doesn't have that many options at first glance. But down the bottom here there's a more fonts button. That's going to bring up a new sort of pop-up page here, and when that loads up, it's going to have a whole bunch of different options for your text. If you're looking for something in particular, you can also sort them up here to handwriting, serif, sans serif, monospace, and you can also search by name. And as you can see, there are a lot of different fonts that you can choose from. I might choose a sans serif one. I go to Montserrat, and you couldn't see it because it was too far towards the bottom of that bar here, but it will also add it to your My Fonts section over here. And so when we click OK over here, that's going to not change the font, but it will be in here in our little standard fonts drop down. And you can add as many as you want into here. Obviously you don't want to add too many, otherwise you'll be scrolling forever. But it's handy if you're using sort of the same fonts over and over again. Now that's not in the middle, so I'm just going to align that like that. Cool. And so with text boxes and with images as well, you can use a handy little thing called the shift button. And that allows you to select more than one thing at once. So right now you can see I've selected my text box as well as my background. So if I was to move that off to the side, both things would move and I wouldn't lose any of my alignment. When I hold the shift button as well, it will snap my rotation to increments of 15 degrees, which is handy if you're trying to achieve something very uniform looking. Now I don't really want my title to be like that, so I'm going to press Ctrl Z on my keyboard a couple of times until it goes back to the middle. Now if you're working with a lot of different elements and you do want to save some time, you can also go to this Arrange tab up here, and that can center it on the page for you, which is a really handy little feature. So if I click on that and go to center on page horizontally, it's going to automatically snap to the center there. And then if I go vertically, it's going to snap a little bit up so that there's equal space on either end, because this image isn't exactly the same size as the canvas, it's a little bit bigger. Now with my text here, I can also add some background, so I can go down to fill color and I can change the fill color like that, and also add some lines, line weight, so that will add like a border around it if you wanted that. And you can also change it to sort of dashes or dots. You can change a little bit more formatting there. You can strike through, put an underline in, italicize it. And you can also go to paragraph styles and all that sort of stuff. Now, if you press the clear formatting button, it's not going to get rid of those backgrounds that you created, so those lines around the edges and that fill color, but it will get rid of any formatting that you did to the text. So I've lost my font and my font size. Now, I obviously wanted to keep that, so I'm just going to hit the Ctrl-Z button a couple of times until it takes me back to what I needed. Now, say I put a second page in here. So I'm going to go, hello, my name is Rachel from Techbloke. And then I'm going to delete these here. So if you were going to be presenting this as well as just distributing it as a PDF file, you can also create transitions in between your different slides if you had multiple. Now obviously if you're not going to be doing anything like that with this ebook, you don't need to insert these transitions, but it's a handy little thing to know how to do if you do want it. So if I press fade over here, so I went to transition, and that'll bring up this little animations tab, and it will automatically be selected on no transition, but I'm going to press fade, and then if you click the play button here, it's going to show you what it will look like. And then we're going to exit that, and you can do the same thing for each slide that you have. Now of course you don't have to use an image for your background on every slide or on any of your slides if you don't want to. Up here there's a little tab that says background, and that's going to bring up a pop-up that will allow me to select the color of my background. You can also choose an image the same way we did before if you want it to just automatically set that to a background. And then if you just want to really quickly get rid of all of that, you can just press reset, and that'll just take it back to what you started with. So I'm going to put a nice blue in there and click done, and that's going to change that for me. Now down the bottom you'll also see this add notes. That's a good thing to do if you're working with multiple people. You can say this needs to have a picture, and then say I was to send it to my friend who was a photographer and had taken pictures for my ebook. He would see that this needs to have a picture, and then he would be able to just put that picture in there. Now obviously when you print it, when you're finalizing it, these notes don't get saved or anything like that. So you can also insert sort of basic shapes like arrows and lines like that, and then again you can use all of the basic formatting tools for those as well. So you can rotate them if you wanted to change that, and of course you can center and move them around. You can also change the different, you can't really see it because it's quite small, but you can also zoom in using this button over here. So you can also change the sort of ends on those. There's a whole lot of cool little tips and tricks that you can use. Zoom out again, I just right click and that will just automatically zoom out for me. Now of course, as well as clicking Ctrl-Z, there's an undo button up here that you can use to get rid of that arrow, or you can put it back in using the redo button. You can also change the weight of those lines. Say you were to insert a square like that. You can also have the square in. Change the color of those lines. And you can also change the weight of those lines to sort of make it stand out a little bit more. Now another thing a lot of people do like to use with Google Slides is a Chrome extension, if you are using Chrome as your internet browser, called Eyedropper, and I've got that in an open tab over here. And you can just search that in the web store over here, just called eyedropper. Nice and easy to remember. And I've already installed it, but if you haven't, all you need to do is click this button here and it will say add to Chrome, and it'll download and automatically install. So say I've got my website here, and I want to match the color of my background in my Google slide presentation or ebook to the color scheme of my website. So that black up here isn't quite black. It's a little bit off, and it's going to be a little bit hard to match exactly. So what eyedropper does is allows you to pick a color directly from a web page. So it's going to give me a little box, and whatever that box is hovered over is what color will be selected. Now you can see it's selected that almost black, and it will bring up both the hex codes and a whole lot of information about it that I can use. And then what you can do is copy that. So press Control C or Command C on a Mac, and then go back into your presentation and change that background color by going down to Custom, and then that will allow you to put the hex code straight in there. And then that now is exactly the same color as my background over here. Now over here we also have another cool little website called flaticon.com, and what that lets you do is download a whole bunch of different cute little icons. A lot of them are free, some of them do cost a little bit of money. You can buy a subscription, but if you stick to the free ones, they're still just as good as any of the other ones, and they're going to allow you to sort of amp up the ante of your Google slide, whereas these things are going to be very time consuming to make just with the simple insert lines or insert shapes that do come with Google Slides. So all you need to do to download these is click on it, and it's going to bring up a whole bunch of icons. Now if you wanted, you can go through and download singular icons, or you can go up here to download pack. And so when you do download that, it's going to download as a zip file over here. And so when you do download those icons, they're going to download in JPEG file, PSD file, and so when you do download those files, you're going to get Photoshop files, you're going to get JPEG files, as well as PSD files. And what you can do with those is go to Insert Image over here, choose an image to upload. I saved mine directly on my desktop, and I'm going to use the PNG files, and then you can just choose any one you like. So let's put the calculator in. And now I've got a little calculator. So another handy little thing that Google Slides can do is insert hyperlinks. So you can go over here to Insert and Link. So I have my calculator image selected here. So I'm going to go to techbloke.com, and then I'm going to say, and then it's also going to bring up a whole bunch of sort of suggestions for you that you can use to just double check that you've selected the right one, and then go to apply. And then you will be able to see that hyperlink there. You can change it or take it away, and if you do download this as a PDF file, it will function as a hyperlink, even though it doesn't right now, because I still want to be able to move it and edit it, do all that sort of stuff. This is handy if you're going to be including a logo or something like that in your ebook design. And so when you are completely finished with that, all you need to do is go up to your file and download as you can download it as a PowerPoint project if you'd like. However, if you are making an ebook to be distributed, download it as a PDF document, because that way your hyperlinks and all that sort of stuff can remain intact. If you'd like, you can also save just singular slides, which is handy if you need to advertise it anyway. You can just advertise the front page. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that gave you a little overview of Google Slides and sort of an insight into how you can use it to create a really nice ebook without sort of spending too much money on a designer or wasting your time trying to learn how to use Photoshop, like I think every single one of us has done in the past. As always, Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.